Like,
We can give you his stereo.
we're officially mic'd up.
You're welcome.
All right, did you find your agenda? The first couple pages are just your minutes. Find your agenda? Minutes?
Okay, so we call to order at 3:41. And how would you like to do the roll call?
Well, everybody's present.
We're all here, except for George.
Just say we're all here. Except for Joyce. What?
George.
Oh, George.
Yeah, absent is George.
And no guests.
I thought maybe she meant I was a hair and body, but not in mind.
George says he's seeing us. Everybody wave.
Oh. So it's, we have one viewer. This is our,
Yay!
George is our first viewer.
Well, hi, George.
So
Okay.
approval of minutes. How do we, I don't remember what.
I move to approve the minutes.
Awesome.
I second.
Okay.
Then you say any discussion?
Any discussion on the minutes? Sounds like there isn't. Let's move forward. And we have no public, so we'll get right through that. And so we move right into the report on the review of the banner art contest rules. And Jessica has given us copies of everything that we've got. The actual last page should be the Tenino metal art banner template page. That's how it will be sent out to our people, so we can review that one last. We'll just sort of go through it. There's obviously the City of Tenino, Creative District. We've got contest up there. Right from the get-go, because we're talking about going after artists and artisans, I would like to propose that we make ours a little more user attractive friendly, like the Delta Community Banner Contest. So it would just, same information, but I say we format it a little bit more appealing. These are great facts, but it's not, a lot of artisans will just go, this looks like a contract. I don't need a contract in my life. So that's just my artistic opinion, and I wanted to know if anybody had any objections to that.
It's a good idea. I was just thinking maybe a kind of a title page is what that one looks like, and then the nitty-gritties on page 2.
I agree, yes. So any other comments?
Well, as far as the agreement for them, the lawyers, it says the lawyers are going to look at that, right?
Is your microphone on?
Oh, I thought it was on.
Yeah.
Oh.
Gosh, I can't believe nobody can hear me. Okay, so aren't the lawyers for the city going to look at this and decide if is that what you're talking about, your contract, to decide if those are correct
Actually,
wording?
at this point, we're just looking at, I brought up the point of just trying to make it a little more user-friendly, keeping the content the same that we're going to go through with our edits, but basically looking at the Delta community, it looks friendly. This does not look friendly, and we're trying to solicit as
Okay.
many truly talented and artisan types there are. So I just thought maybe we'll spruce it up with a title
Okay.
page. Does that make sense to everyone?
Make it pretty.
Okay. And for that, once we approve this, I'll work with George, and we'll come up with a title page and just the format a little bit different. If you look inside, you'll see it's a little bit more user friendly. So, and we would send that out to everybody to make sure that you're cool with it. Okay? All right.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay, so the first paragraph is basically just kind of an excited plea to give them information, let them know how many banners, where they're going to be installed, and to let them know this is a conceptual art. We also spell out that it's a silhouette style, and the criteria being Tenino's history, culture, or natural beauty. And we invite people to participate. So I can see that also being on that front title page that we're talking about. So it's kind of an invitation to what's going on, and maybe even include the purpose on that page. And then we get into our timeline. And when George and I were speaking with Stu, we asked him what would be a really reasonable amount of time. George's initial contact with Stu was about a year ago, and a lot of things change. So Stu asked if he could have more time. And so he wanted to begin fabrication on April 7th. He needed 2 more weeks than we were initially giving him. And just a note, the price that Stu had quoted was basically $600 per custom piece. And quite honestly, that's a really good deal that we are getting because it's the brackets, it's working with custom art. He can never sell this again. So these are one-of-a-kinds, and it is truly eating into his personal income time. So this is definitely a business prospect for him, and we are getting a really good deal. So wanted to make sure that everybody understood when he asked for more time, that's legitimate. So are there any objections to extending him more time on this timeline?
Yeah, and so I adjusted the timeline to reflect that.
Yes, yeah, thank you. So it really actually, it just pretty close to what we already had, just announcing a little sooner and cutting off a little earlier too. But once we open this up, everyone's got a month to submit, and we talked about that being a legitimate time frame anyway. So I think we're really good as far as that goes.
Yeah, in case this needed to go before council, I could not shift the time of February 15th because the council meets next on February 14th, I believe. So this would be like, if they have to approve it, it would be approved. Then we could release it the next day. The thing I shortened up was the amount of time that we would have to judge.
We will have to make sure our calendars are clear just to pop in and do our part, and then get our judges lined up. And we'll need to talk about who those might be a little bit later on.
Yeah, so mark the March 17th through 24th on your calendar, because that's going to be the week that...
That's us.
That's us, yeah.
March 17th through what?
Through 24th.
24th.
It's on the paper.
Oh,
Here.
Yeah.
okay.
Thing is, put it on the calendar.
Yeah.
Okay, the next part of this is winning.
Get it in the calendar now. March
Nope.
17th. Okay.
So yeah, March 17th is a Friday.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Is the 24th, so we have a week.
And that is not something we all have to be together to do. That we just make arrangements for wherever the art was going to be congregated to come in and review and submit our ideas of what needs to not be participating. So for the eliminators. So okay. So does that work for everybody? That date, that week? Okay. All right. Okay, then the final selection by the judges. So they've got a very short time, so we will have to organize that very, very quickly or put that together well so that it's a very smooth thing. Again, that's the judges look at them separately. They're not coming together as a group. They will score them numerically, and then we can easily go through what has been selected and what has not. Okay. It should actually say fabrication of banners on that next line. The designs pretty much are done. And that will begin with Stu right away. He reported that he will take the most simple designs and get those going as soon as possible, and then working with the ones that are a little bit more challenging and having to revise the artwork to work with his program. So he's excited about getting them produced.
I have a timeline question. So it says that winning artists notified between these dates. Do we even need to have a date range for notifying people? Or can we just either extend the judge's amount of time and say this is the day we will be announcing the winners?
Except that we're asking for their original artwork from them, so we actually have to have a date. Yes, we can have a specific date that we would do that, and then work backwards to find out how long it would take to get the artwork from the individuals. So chances are good, most of them will submit online, so these will be electronic, which will make the artwork very easy and quick to get to us. But if we're talking school children, that's not necessarily what's going to happen. So when school children submit their work, chances are good we're going to get Xerox copies of what they've put together. And so we'll just snag the originals if it even warrants that. Chances are good that Stu can work from the photocopies. So, but yeah, if you'd like to choose one particular date for notifying them.
Because my thought is some of it could be a little more batched or something. Like if you have a certain amount that is ready to go, you can pass it off to Stu while you're still collecting others or something along those lines.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, so the notification date was the only thing I thought, well, maybe there's some wiggle room there to get the judges more time in case, that's was my only concern. But
yeah, if we could.
It's probably fine.
Okay, we'll wiggle with this as we need to.
Okay.
Okay, Arch Commission members and volunteer panel of resident and business people will select the winners. Approval of submission depends on compliance with the design guidelines and approval of Tenino City Council. So when does the Tenino City Council see these?
Well, so when they see the winners, or
Let's see,
do you have a handy calendar?
Yeah, what is the submission? They have to be in by what?
So we're into April.
Yeah, we're into April, so it's going to be the second Tuesday in April, whatever that date is.
That would be April 11th
Yeah,
or April 25th.
yeah.
Those are the two meeting dates for April.
Then it's got to be. Ooh, we've got an issue.
Well,
If city has to approve it,
do they?
I don't know.
I'm not sure if
George, do they need to approve it?
I don't think George would know either.
Oh,
I think I think we're going to be asking for permission for them to okay our plan as
Okay.
it is,
okay, all right.
but I don't know. What do you think? Would you rather see it approved
So is the,
Well, I think that you'll have to have the approval
of
Just
the
because it-
final stuff?
because it says City of Tenino.
Yeah, I think it depended on if the city was paying for them or not, whether it was needed their approval. That was the, we're sort of sponsoring, but through a grant. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
George says he doesn't know.
Yeah, we
Okay.
none of us know.
Okay.
I got a different answer before, so I will just check in and
I
reconfirm.
I could check with Jen and see.
Yeah. I mean, I can talk to her tomorrow too, see what she
We
thinks.
certainly don't want to leave the council out if they want to be
No, yeah,
involved.
you're right.
But if they want to just trust us and run with this, that's fine too. If the council wanted to come in during the week when we're eliminating, and they could also throw in their votes on what is not appropriate, then assuming that everything else is appropriate, and if it got chosen, it got chosen, does that work?
Well, I'm also thinking about if they have to approve the final thing, maybe they don't need to approve the contest rules. I don't know that they need to approve both.
Okay,
That was my thought, if this is okay with them,
Yeah, and then that changes our
Then-
whole timeline.
Right. yeah.
what we do, it's gonna be, yeah, I mean, they've already said yes.
Yeah. If they
I
approve
mean,
this,
really.
that's
Yeah.
true. If
Okay.
they approve this, they shouldn't have to do anything else. They approved your,
Yeah, so that's why I'm not sure that we need to go
Okay.
to them twice
Right.
for approval.
so.
I wouldn't think you would.
Yeah, that was
who's
my
the-
first
Who's the
instinct.
final word on that?
I'll talk to Jen and Wayne and see.
Okay. Okay. Because if they'd like to be involved, that initial go through as we're going through would be perfect timing. But if they need to see the finals before it goes on, then we will have to honor that, so.
Okay.
Okay.
I just would hate to see opening up everything again.
Right.
Right.
You know, that's
Yeah.
the thing, if we've done
I
the
think-
work.
I
Yeah.
feel like, so I've done projects with a grant, and I informed them about everything I was doing, but they didn't actually see it before I sent it off to print and had it installed at the city, and I think they're happy with it.
Okay.
But that was the, I had permission to do the project,
Yeah.
and then I was given the trust to do it.
This is way less than even, than the art project here, but when the Chamber of Commerce did the flowers in the baskets, the chamber bought the baskets. The council knew we were doing it, but we never had to get approval of what flowers went in it or how
No.
they looked. You know, it was already
Yeah.
a project
Yeah.
that they had approved that we do.
I think if they approve of this process and this is how we do it, then I think we'll be okay.
All right.
That's my instinct. I will double check it.
Thank you.
But
That would be mine too.
yeah,
Yeah, just you double check it when they approve it on this approval. So, okay, do we need anything else?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, super. A total of 23 winners will be selected. Yay! Okay, prize. The winning designs will be displayed on City of Tenino streetlight poles and artists recognized for their work. We still haven't specifically decided how that was going to happen for budgetary reasons and just the logistics of things. So that,
For sure, I can put it on the city's webpage.
there you go. Okay,
Mhm.
let's, we can also leave that open so that we can do other things at other points in time if we choose to.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have a new webpage in a month,
Perfect.
and we'll have a place for this sort of thing. So,
Okay, so Arts Commission Review Committee reserves the right to determine a banner design is eligible for acceptance and placement on the city pole banner under these guidelines. All artwork must be original creations of the submitting artist. Artwork is to be submitted in black and white, no shading or grayscale. And you've seen the artwork and things, so that's less mysterious at this point, correct? In here, we've got
The samples that you have.
the
there.
samples, yes. So is that making more sense to everyone now?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And we will have, if we can get permission from these graphics, who's produced them, we will include examples. Stu has nothing like this at this point in time, so there's nothing of his we can choose. If we can't get approval of, using these for copyright reasons, then,
Are you talking about these?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
mhm.
Because these are great, because they have nothing to do with Tenino, so
Exactly.
they won't give anybody
Yeah,
some
nobody's gonna
false
steal.
lead.
Right, right. This is, I loved these, but these were a little even hard to come by online. So I don't know if I can get permission to use these. But the city of Olympia in the capital area, the Capitol Hill neighborhood, does have those banners. And if we could get like 2 good photographs of what they're doing, we could use those, because that is public property at this point, not published by anyone. So that's something we will need to still work through. But at least if we've got imagery, that should help with the submitting in black and white, no shading or grayscale. Ideas could include representations of Tenino areas such as outdoor, nature, historically recognized buildings, people, festivals, etc., and provide a positive, welcoming visual to the downtown area. Is there anything else we want to add to that, just as kind of a nudge to people of what we're looking for? Seem complete enough?
Pretty much has included everything.
Hmm?
It pretty much
I-
includes
it's-
everything as far as
It's pretty positive,
round
yes.
Tenino and festivals.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Mhm.
Oh,
What?
I do have a question on that.
Yes.
The last sentence, banner shall not be used for commercial advertising, blah, blah, blah. We got down to that, right? I'm not hearing everything that's being said.
No, we didn't get
so-
there yet.
Huh?
We're not there yet.
Oh,
Okay, you may submit multiple entries, maximum of 10.
okay.
Contest is open to Washington State residents and former residents of the city of Tenino, because we wanted to make sure that was, do we need, former residents, is that cool enough for everybody? It's not like we're really going to be checking to make sure they've provided addresses of where they lived, so I think it's pretty inclusive. That work for everyone?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All submissions must be family-friendly and appropriate for all ages and may not contain any words or objectionable imagery. Yes. We will get a couple wonky ones. Okay. Banner art submissions shall not be used for commercial advertising or display of personal messages or used to promote political or religious organizations or issues or viewpoints. Is that where you had a question?
Yes.
Okay.
So when people talk about Tenino to me in my store, I get a lot of comments about how many churches we have, and I don't think a church is, if there was a building that was a church that's against, I don't know. I think that's a part of Tenino. So if you're saying religious.
You could include that in historical buildings.
Right, right. If it happens to have a cross or some kind of symbol on it and it's a historic building, that would be, if it got chosen,
Yeah.
that would be totally permittable.
Yeah, okay.
It would be just symbolism just for the sake of conveying a message versus
Yeah,
the
so-
buildings. Does that make sense?
Yes, so just so that, like the Catholic Church is a symbol of Tenino. The Presbyterian Church is very much a part of downtown.
Right, right.
Um,
And that's part of why we ask on the application, the entry form, what is your imagery? Why are you putting this imagery in? What does it mean to you? And that will help us decide if that's going to be something that's legit or that it doesn't fall into the rulings.
So so what we're saying is that we don't want a theological proposal happening. So this sentence, I think the problem is religious organizations. It would be and I don't know how to restate it,
Okay,
but you know, to promote
okay.
political,
Ideological, ideology?
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, that might be better.
okay,
And take out the first or, put a comma in there. Oh, take them all, take out all the ors, put commas.
okay,
Or.
Okay. yeah.
And our stone carver is becoming a business as such.
And again, if things are portrayed in a historic manner or in an artistic way, then it's not really just promoting our stone carvers per se, but they're so much a part of Tenino, especially at the present time, tying back to the history. So while it's a business, it's a tie to our history here.
Yeah, we have an
So-
industrial history, and so businesses will be represented in a historical way.
But we're not advertising.
We're not advertising
That's
any
the
logging,
difference.
specific logging company or that you know, or, yeah, any existing,
Okay, I just wanted that
Yeah.
clarified.
it's a good question.
It is a good question. So when you submit your artwork for your store, no, ma'am.
I could do a fashion model on one of the signs.
That would be, see, that would fall in because
There
it's
you
not
go.
just the name of
Okay.
your store. Now Joyce is interested.
Well, I don't think that you'll take my stick figure as, as an artwork.
Okay, so included in that is business names, logos, branded tags, acronyms, trademarks are prohibited. Okay, all designs, entries must be vertically oriented as banners, as they will be hung vertically. If your design is selected, you must submit original artwork in format specified by the project coordinator or contractor, sorry. Selected artwork may be modified to work within the process specifications and visual integrity. And we say that part just because if something's like too detached, not in the metal format that Stu needs, we're going to have to make some changes. Also, bearing in mind that some people will be making very finely detailed things, and if they're 10, 12, 15 feet in the air, some of the detail may have to be pulled out to make it simple so that people driving by can actually understand what it is. So, all right, and so that's that part. Accepted media, we are accepting digital artwork, must be an original design. We do keep hitting that just because it's just got to be really clear that we don't want people borrowing or buying pieces of artwork and assembling it. Nothing purchased or copied. Files must be submitted and saved under the entrant's full name, image number, title, and they've got an example there. The accepted format there, and that actually should be up in the next sentence, is JPEG, and that was Stu's specification. And then the other version, and so digital artwork is really actually one kind of artwork, and so probably not a bullet point for filed and accepted. Does that make sense, Jessica? Because we actually have two different kinds of accepted media. One's the electronic, and the
So-
other is hand-drawn. Okay.
Accepted forms, JPEG, hand-drawn.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what was it you wanted in the next line? Do not submit originals?
Actually, it's under accepted media. Start with a bullet point, digital artwork, and then spelling out the details just for that. And then the second bullet point would be hand-drawn.
Oh,
I just
okay.
want to make sure that people know that they can do one or the other. And if they hand draw something, they don't necessarily have to turn in a JPEG. So, okay, so hand-drawn designs must be submitted as black and white photocopies with entrant's full name on the page. Do not submit originals.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay. Specific technical specifications, specifications received without a completed entry form and a waiver release may be disqualified. I think that would just be an automatic. We need that, or do we want to chase down good artwork?
if it's terrific artwork,
Okay.
you might want to chase it down.
I was gonna say.
Okay, then we will
But
leave may
do
be
you think
disqualified.
you'll get enough?
I'm hoping, I'm really hoping, and that's why we are
Yeah.
doing what we're doing, so,
Yeah.
Yeah, it says maybe, and so
right,
we have
okay.
the
we have the
leverage to
option.
go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
What's the
In the
matter?
corner? Unless that's Rob's.
Okay, submit
Like I left
only,
mine in the truck.
submit only portrait vertically oriented images. I'm not sure that's necessary, we've already kind of hit that one.
I mean, it's under specific technical specifications. You have to realize that some people don't read the whole thing.
This is true, this
So
is
they
true.
might jump to this section.
We may want to reword that to work with the template provided instead. Okay,
What, number 2?
So-
number 2.
So long as you can't interpret this as being this.
Ah. Well, it does say at the bottom, it is 30 inches wide and 60 inches tall.
Mhm.
And it does say Tenino in a certain way.
It does.
It does.
I'm just saying.
I know. And I know what you mean. Okay.
It's probably fine. It's probably fine.
Let's get rid of the word portrait then and just say submit only vertically oriented images. All right. Submissions received without all the required contact information may be disqualified. Requirements, all artwork must be original, made by the artist submitting the entry, and made by hand. Yeah, that one's a little iffy, but if they're drawing on the computer, it's still by hand. I'm not sure how else we could reword that to include digital art. Any suggestions?
Made by hand.
I think you can just cut it out.
Yeah. Do you have to say made by hand? Or can it just
Okay.
be made by the artist?
Okay, all right.
Yeah, you've already said it's got to be original and it's made by the artist.
Okay, perfect. Artwork should be photographed for email submission. We can also say photocopied since we're talking about kids as well. So I would say photographed or photocopied.
Okay, yeah.
Should image be chosen, you will be
I have a question now. Why are we asking them for their original artwork?
because people get really funky about their artwork, and if you send an original and you want it back and it's already been jammed under 14 different piles of stuff,
Yeah, but then why, if they're chosen, why should they have to submit their original artwork?
because it will be cleaner than a photocopy, we hope. It's for Stu to use to scan and get points
Okay.
on. So we only want 23 pieces of original art to deal with.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay. All right.
Since I'm not. a
You'll be
novice.
contacted for the original copy. Okay, technical specifications, the finished metal banners will be 60 inches tall, 30 inches wide. Those measurements include the frame artwork and city insignia, and you guys, we've seen that. The artwork area, and we need to pull out those measurements because those have changed. So I will get the final 100% inches on those. We have.
It may not be 50.
It may or may not be 50. We've talked about how wide the frame plus the
Okay.
panel inside
Okay.
has to be. So, yeah, 50 and 27 may not be accurate at this moment. We have provided a template with guidelines to keep your design work proportionally correct, and that's going to be probably the most important part. If your artwork is selected, you'll be contacted by the City of Tenino for an uncompressed high-resolution image, or
Or the
or the original artwork.
Or what?
The original artwork. There will be some who say, okay, how do I get it to you? You know, somebody in Maine who spent their summers here. I believe we're asking people to actually spend the money to ship it here. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
We're not budgeted for lots of FedEx packages, right? Okay. So it'll be mailed by artisan or dropped off. Okay, submissions, electronic submissions, email your entry form, artwork and image waiver form to Miss Jessica. Drop-off submissions, entry form, artwork, and image waiver form may be dropped off at the City of Tenino. And mail submissions, entry form, artwork, and image waiver form mailed to Jessica. So you're gonna get artwork.
Should we say instead of, do you think City of Tenino is good, or should it say Tenino City Hall?
Tenino City Hall, you're right.
Does mail go to post office box?
Yes.
Yeah. Does it have, it does have under mailed submissions, P.O. Box 4019.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, I see that now.
Yeah, we didn't want them just dropping it off anywhere in the city. Although we have an address. Okay, process. Read banner guidelines and submit artwork, artist entry form, waiver form, and art submission in proper format. I would remove the read and submit. I take artwork out of the first part and art submissions in proper format as the third piece. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay.
Submit.
Artist entry forms, waiver form, and art submission in proper format.
Mhm.
Because otherwise it looks like we're looking for four things. Arch Commission will review all submissions to ensure compliance with all guidelines, criteria, and specifications. That's us. Arch Commission will select banner art submissions.
Oh, I might not have, can't
Okay.
remember if I got that right on the timeline. No. Okay. March 15th.
Okay.
No, that's not right. We'll select it by, oh, no, that's right. Final judgment, right? I caught it the first time.
31st.
It's
Submissions
correct.
by
Okay.
art, by March 31st.
Yes, we will select banner art submissions by March 31st.
And I
I
would
couldn't
actually.
remember if I corrected that or not. I did.
Good job. I would actually just add a second sentence to point number 2 that rather than,
Oh, then have it be its own.
yeah,
Mhm.
and just selections will be made by a certain date. Just keep it shorter. And then banners will be installed on 23 City of Tenino light poles. Yes. Okay, incomplete intellectual property waiver release forms will result in automatic rejection of your submission. All waiver release forms must be signed and dated and will be subject to confirmation by City of Tenino. Is that a legal statement we have to have in there, George?
I don't think it is.
'Cause
It's
we've-
just, we're really trying to drive it home that we don't want to chase down waivers.
Okay.
and that kind of thing. So it's in there twice now that
Right.
we really need, well, it's in there
It's a
more than
couple
twice
times, yeah.
that we need these waivers. Don't forget we need the waiver.
Did we decide on may result in automatic rejection, or are we just flat out saying we're just rejecting it?
Yeah, because we did May before.
Incomplete intellectual property forms, we can say may result in automatic rejection of your submission.
'Cause if I,
If you
Because
want to
we
leave
say it
it,
earlier.
if you
if
wanna
I like
leave
know
it-
the person, I'm like, dude,
Come on.
finish the
Where-
thing, you know.
yeah, if you
Where's
want to
that
leave it a
line
little
above?
vaguer, may would be,
Where's the May
I don't think
that we did
vaguer's a
earlier?
word.
May was up here, and technical specifications. It's may be disqualified up there under number 1.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah,
Mm.
I see.
So it should just keep it consistent.
Okay. George is sending a message.
Repeat question.
Repeat question,
So,
okay.
so it was you said it was a question for George.
Okay, so we're just, we've decided, George, that we're going to keep the note at the bottom of the page, incomplete intellectual property waiver release forms, but we're changing will result to may result. That's it. Okie dokie. Oh, gosh.
So is our next process to vote to approve this? Is that it?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So, everybody want to read through the statement of authorized use of image waiver on their own, and then you give us a yay or a nay?
Okay, it's somewhere in here.
Everybody good?
I'm no lawyer, but it looks good to me.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, is there a lawyer looking over this? 'Cause-
Yes, there will be.
Perfect.
I did have one question, just because I've not seen this. Time is of the essence with this agreement, as well as every term, covenant, and condition contained therein. What does that mean?
I have no idea.
The lawyer will tell us.
I didn't write this.
I don't object to it, I just don't know what it means, so, okay, all right, flip it over. We've got the actual application where they will submit this with their artwork. Name, home address, email, phone, title of design entry, which I think is super cool. We do have our age groups. Entry group would be a student 5 to 11 years old, so those are our youngest. And I think we decided we would take 3 of those. Was that correct? Or did we say 3? We would look to try and find 3 of those pieces of artwork out of the submissions.
That we have to or try?
We will try.
Try.
Our objective would be to pick 3. Does that sound right?
I didn't recall a number.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't recall any number.
Okay,
either.
I just must have made that up in my head, thinking that that would be good. What do you think? As our personal group objective, to try and, just to make sure that we've got some student artwork up there. So,
If it's good enough to hang,
Yeah.
just because it's a student shouldn't hang if it doesn't look good.
True.
right, and that's why we're gonna flood the schools and get 3 really good ones.
Okay.
Seems reasonable to me.
Okay, all right. So the next group would be the teens, so that's students who are 12 to 18 years, and we need to put years in there.
And how many of those was the number?
I would love to do 3 again as our objective.
I could potentially see more than,
Uh-huh.
a lot more submissions than the 5 to 11.
Yes. So should we just say for the student range, we'll try and find 5 out of both groups, total?
3 and 3 is fine with me, and
I don't think it needs to be published anywhere.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
I'm just trying
Okay.
to establish for us
Yeah.
that when we're looking at this, we know ahead of time we're actually trying hard to be inclusive. I just want that to be clear. Okay. So let's just say objective 5 to 6.
I just have one question. What if a couple of students want to work together on a project?
I thought about that when I saw the
Yeah,
last line.
because
on
I'm
here.
going,
Yeah.
you know, maybe collaborative, I don't know. I'm just asking the question.
That's a great question. Because it just needs to be original work.
well, I don't know why we couldn't have even a group submit something.
Another thing I start wondering about is when you have youth submissions and you're having waivers, all of a sudden you're gonna probably need a parent to
Yeah.
sign the waiver instead
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
student, so we might need to adjust
A
the
parent line.
form.
Oh, yeah.
For
Need
if
a
you're,
line at the bottom.
Okay,
Just
good
like
point.
signature
Yeah.
of parent or
Parent or guardian.
guardian if
For
under 18.
minors.
yeah,
Super. Okay, and
It doesn't, so
It doesn't. It needs to be
suggesting
added.
adding that,
Oh,
particularly for student work.
okay.
okay, then the next part says, please provide a brief description of the design and how it reflects the goal to provide imagery that represents the history, culture, and natural beauty of Tenino. Should be and/or natural beauty.
Or instead of and, is that what you're saying?
Uh-huh,
I think so,
okay,
yeah, I think so too.
okay.
because they're not gonna necessarily hit all of it.
That would be a little tricky. I say the artwork I'm submitting has been solely my design and creation. Maybe at that point, we can put a asterisk, you know, collaboration, all parties need to be listed, something along those lines.
Should there just be-
/we.
Yeah, could there, and then do you want an extra signature line in case it is a
Yep.
collaboration?
Yep. So collaborative artwork requires a signature from all
Each.
artists involved. Okay.
Yeah, I got
Okie dokie.
This is here.
And now for the picture parts.
Shouldn't it be down here too?
Okay, so you guys have seen the imagery. We hope to include at least 2 graphics that will show what we're talking about. If we can get permission for these guys, great. Otherwise, we'll try and get some photos of the ones in downtown Ole. Okay?
We have a question, if we can go backwards.
Oh,
just-
sure,
just
sure.
briefly. So at the top, it's describes what the Arts Committee is, right?
Mhm.
Arts, recreation. And then it doesn't say anything about recreation down below in terms of representing the history.
Oh.
Does
Okay.
it need
Yeah.
to, or is that covered under culture?
I was
I think it's
I
good,
was
though.
thinking the same thing, and then I went back and forth, well, it might be, it's part of our culture.
It is.
But we could say, our history.
I
Well,
think
see, natural
recreation
beauty
needs to
doesn't
be in
even
there.
fall under any of,
Yeah.
Art, that falls into art,
does it?
yeah.
Okay.
Why not?
Well, all of it falls under art
It's
in
true.
this case.
Would you feel better if we put recreation in there? I would see it as culture, personally, but,
I've kind of gone back and forth, so it's up to you guys.
I don't care.
I think explicit is better.
okay.
Okay.
Now, we're putting it in here, do we need to have it in all of our other descriptions?
Probably.
I don't know what kind of recreation we do there, but what do we do?
Okay,
History to culture.
Well, it would be all the sports.
Well, that would be true because of all the sports from the grade school and high school, all they do.
In town.
Mhm.
And also
Mascots.
Yeah,
stuff,
the trail,
biking,
biking, hiking.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
continued fishing could technically go into all that too.
Yeah.
Hiking, yeah.
Scookupchuck River. Some fishing.
Okay, so we want recreation put into all of our descriptions of what we're looking for then.
Okay.
Good point. Okay, and then finally, the template page. And have very simple, like as Jessica pointed out, there'll be plenty of people who don't read through this. So we've got the points there. And, I forgot to send the one that, there's actually a line underneath number 4, a certain thickness that I worked with Stu to make sure it's okay. So create your artwork with black only, no color or shadings. That seem clear enough to everybody? Okay. Create your artwork with clean lines. That's the most we can hope for. 3, all black artwork must connect at some point to the black frame. No floating images. Does that make sense to everyone too? Okay. And black artwork must not be thinner than this line. Line will be there. And
So this template is usable in different sizes, right?
Yes, because it'll be proportional.
So the line will
When they-
vary.
When they blow up this, that line will also blow up.
Okay, so it's all
So
proportional.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, and that means, and number 5, you are welcome to enlarge this template to fit an 11 by 17 format if that makes your creative process more enjoyable. The art area proportions must be maintained. So that's, and then the metal banner will be 30 wide, 60 inch tall when completed. So anything we need to add to this?
The only thing I could think to add, and it may seem redundant and silly, but you could just put up here top
Okay.
or something.
Put up there what?
Oh,
Top.
Really?
Something that just says.
Okay.
I'm thinking if you've got second graders doing this.
Okay. All right. We can do that. We don't want anyone to mess up. So,
So,
you guys okay with the Tenino at the bottom?
well, my only thing is you're coming from the other direction. What the heck does it say?
Oh, neat. It-
Oh, neat.
They will be
But
Oh,
are
need
they
it.
going
They will be on both sides of the
both
road. They
sides
will
of
be
the road,
on,
so
yes.
you have
Okay.
Tenino going this way and Tenino going this way.
Right.
I like owning it.
Okay,
Does that work?
yeah, fine. I'm good.
Okay.
I'm trusting the artist here, okay? And I think the student thing should be 12 through 17
To 17.
because adult is 18.
Except we have, well, okay. I was thinking there's still so many kids in high
High school
school.
that are still 18.
The students, yeah, but
So what,
Yeah, this is less about whether they're legal at age. They can sign, if they're 18 and a senior in high school and a
Yeah.
student, they could submit as a student, but they don't have to have their parent sign for them. So I might.
If I were high school,
Yeah.
if I were 18,
Mm-hmm. And you're in high school?
I'm not 17, I'm an adult now. That's just my
It
thought.
doesn't, but it doesn't, well, okay.
I mean,
But
I
they
could
get
be
a leg,
totally
they get a
wrong.
leg up if they're, because they're one of the 5 or 6 that we're gonna choose.
Okay, that
If
may
they
be.
stick with the 18 in high
yeah, I
school.
think they should, I think it should still be a student because there's so many seniors that are 18 years old.
right.
Okay, so we're calling that
Most
student.
students are 18 when they graduate.
Yeah, we've got student category 5 through 11, student category 12 through 18, and then adult.
Yeah.
Okay,
that
I'm
work?
good.
And
Okay.
my
And then
kids,
the 18-year-old can actually choose to be an adult if they'd prefer, We don't
And
have
they
a.
might have graduated and that's what they would prefer to submit, but they could make that
We're
distinction.
actually not
my
going to hear.
my
Okay.
kids have Peter Pan syndrome, so at 18 they would still prefer to be thought of as a student than an adult. Adulthood is scary.
Yes, it is.
That's true.
Okay, so we've gone through it, and with edits, do we have approval on this at this point?
Yes.
Thank you.
So do we need to make a motion
I was
on
gonna
this
say,
one?
Yeah,
make a
so
motion?
I would
move
make a
for-
motion to approve the contest rules as amended.
I second it.
No, I don't make the
She can't
motion.
do it.
Oh, somebody, I'm
I have already
suggesting,
done one motion this meeting, so maybe.
I'm just suggesting a basic format for the motion.
I move for exactly what you just said.
And I second it if I can.
I was gonna
You
say,
can.
I don't know whether I can or not because I'm here representing Linda.
Yeah, I think
And
I think you don't have a vote on
I
that.
don't think so either.
I'll second it.
Okay, well, Donna already did. Oh, she
Oh.
can't. You can't?
I don't know.
I think you can.
I seconded it then.
No, she can't.
Woohoo!
We got a
Because she's
second and a
considered
third.
a president or a chairman, so she can't vote.
Oh, she can't
So
vote?
we're kind of lame ducks here.
Okay, well then
We can give
I'll
our
just put
opinions
Bob
and that's
down.
it.
Okay,
And then.
Bob's got it.
Any further discussion?
On the application?
Yep. Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Do we have any new business?
That was it.
I think one of the joys of this is we really have one project in front of us at a time. That is so spectacular.
I can
We can
think
do
of
this.
lots of other projects, but I don't want to burden anybody. with
Thank
it.
you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Next meeting?
Maybe next meeting. Maybe
Oh,
when
yeah,
we're,
next meeting.
So our next meeting is when?
so,
We were talking about meeting every 3 months, is that right?
well, I think, so you're saying we're not going to need a meeting to do the eliminating.
What
But
do
we
you think?
could.
Do we need to do that
Do you
together?
want to do it together or not?
I would propose we make all the edits and the design format changes and email it to everyone,
Okay.
and we get everybody's vote that way. Does that
Okay.
work for everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's make sure.
So I would suggest for the fun of it,
Mhm.
having a meeting once the final selections have been made, so you can all see what they are.
Yes. I
So
agree.
that would be about the time frame I would look at for a meeting. If you guys want to, I would think that you'd want to see the fruits of your,
So we won't approve what's been selected by this other committee then?
I
Is
mean,
that
we
right?
can put our rubber stamp on it and say, hey, we love this, we're happy with it,
I,
send it off.
yes, we will actually need,
Selected judges, so we should be able to take their,
Hope so.
Yes,
yeah.
you can, yeah. You don't
And
have, it's
the
not, I don't think any of it's required at that point, but only, if you don't want to have a meeting, you don't have to. You could just send out pictures to everybody and meet in 3 months.
I would propose that we do meet after the judges have gone through, and that we take a look at them as a group and understand what we're getting.
Oh, George says you should meet more often for now.
Okay. George. Fine. Okay, let's find a date that we can all get in here again.
There may come up, other things may come up
Oh,
that,
there is something we do actually need to talk about, and that is our judges.
yeah, selecting
Just
judges.
selecting judges. So,
That's true.
would 2 weeks work for everyone? And in the meantime, we start scouring and start looking for people who live in the community and have, yes?
I mean, you have basically, I mean, you could meet sometime in a month and still be okay with that if you come with people in mind.
But we'll need to actually ask people if they want to be judges, because not everyone wants to. So I would say if we met in 2 or 3 weeks to go through who we thought would be good judges, that way we can approach them, find out if they can work with our schedule, if they're willing.
So who is going to ask the judges?
We are going, we submit names and we'll talk about who out of that, we need to pick 5 people. So we're not looking necessarily for art people. We're looking for people who live in this area, have a vested interest in seeing that this, community, continues to thrive and move forward. So the panel's really kind of pretty wide open. We just need people who we think would choose well for
So
what would represent our community.
If each of the commission members came forward with 2 names, then you have 10 to choose from, and then you can narrow it down.
Okay, so 2 or 3 weeks, what would you think?
Either's fine. Either's fine for
2
me.
weeks will be the 13th of February, 3 weeks will be the 20th.
I believe the 20th
I
is
will-
President's Day.
Yes, it is.
And I'll be gone.
Okay, let's do the 13th, if everybody's okay?
I don't know if I am or not.
Okay.
I'm hopefully getting a new knee.
Oh.
So I'm excited. I can't tell you how excited I am.
Well,
Okay.
So
before you
I'll
go,
let you know.
Okay,
before
and-
you go into surgery, you can always send us your names.
Oh, I would do that. I would do that. Yes, I would. I'm thinking about it now,
Okay,
so.
yeah. I bet you know some good people.
Okay, George says 13th is council, so good to choose and give council update? Oh, perfect, okay, all right. So that happens to be city council date as well, so we could actually
It's the
fill
day-
them in.
It's the day before the city council.
Oh,
City council is on the 14th.
oh, okay, all right, so George is saying that's perfect. So let's shoot for the 13th,
Okay.
and we'll,
What time?
I'd say same time, 3:30, does that work? Or do we need to be earlier because council comes?
No,
council is
council's not.
Until the next day.
Oh, that's right, I'm sorry. It's not sticking.
It's getting late.
Okay,
I have February 13th at 3:30 tentatively on my calendar.
okay, okay.
ARCH.
All right, George, February 13th, 3:30, here.
Excellent.
Okay. Do I officially adjourn us? Is that the deal?
Yes.
We are adjourned unless anyone has any objections.
Good enough.
Okay, we're out of here.
Excellent.
I didn't necessarily want to make an announcement on the public record, but my wife and I are